Hello, it's Stephen White, Trekboy89, back again. Just watched season 2, episode 6 of Discovery at, 5 a.m. in the morning in Australia. I'm nocturnal. I was surprised. It was surprisingly good. I managed to watch it without any loss of my mind. Yeah, it was a solid episode. It only had a couple of small issues. Yeah, I was surprised. It started off strong and it was fairly consistent all the way through. It didn't delve much into the Spock side of the season's arc. It really just dealt with the Red Angel. So I guess there's only two things that annoyed me about the episode. First, it's not specific to the episode, but the use of the term the Red Angel, when I just don't understand why they would put that on it, that this must be an angel or some sort of angel. There's something supernatural about it, that why they would even attach that to it when clearly it's just an alien that is technologically advanced or has the ability to do all these things. And why anyone with a scientific background and knowledge and education would see it as magical is beyond me. I don't understand why. That part of this season's arc in the story, I don't get it. I find that frustrating. But so they kept referring to the Red Angel, Red Angel. I'm like, why aren't they examining what it is rather than just? It's like they're making this assumption. So that bothered me, but that's something they've been doing all season. So that's a small thing, and that gets resolved in the episode. Thank God. So basically, Saru has discovered that this part of this thing that his people go through, which they believe is going to lead to their death, is actually part of their evolution, where they lose their ganglia and they evolve and they become strong and capable people, as opposed to the fearful. I'm not sure, because obviously there's spoilers in this. It's a full review of the story. Okay, so I'm just trying to work out what order to say things in. Okay, so basically Saru goes back to his planet because he wants to share with his people the knowledge that they can actually survive and evolve, and they don't have to surrender themselves to the Bowel to be culled, and to get to the bottom of that. So they go down, him and Michael. Now, there's a scene on the bridge where Saru is not remotely objective and keeps challenging Pike, although they were both in command, Pike said earlier in episodes, so he should have been involved to an equal extent in what they did anyway. So, but yeah, he becomes very confrontational and very not himself, and everyone on the bridge is observing this, and everyone looks like they're about to step in, and of course Michael steps in and saves the day and convinces Pike to let him come down with her. So she had a little Mary Sue moment as usual, and it's like, okay, so Michael's still Michael, even though it was a good episode. Michael's still Michael. So they go down, they meet the sister. She initially receives them well. Eventually, when she realizes he's there more about the Bowel and that than just to be reunited with her, and then the Bowel realize he's there. He leaves, and then the Bowel confront Starfleet because they realised, or they didn't realise, he left before and was taken away on a Starfleet shuttle and a Starfleet ship and was serving for 18 years. But now they realise that they're taking him away. But I think their fear was knowing that he had evolved. I guess when he left, I don't know why they didn't pursue it then, but they wanted him back, and he surrendered himself after being told to leave the bridge because he wasn't objective and was problematic and exacerbating the situation between the Bowel and Pike. He leaves and he goes to the transporter room and gets rid of the transport operator and beams himself down to surrender himself, to save his sister and other people, and the Federation from a war and everything, because the Bowel are very they're bad guys, basically. They're violent, they're aggressive, they are afraid of losing control of the situation, and we find out why later. And this is the other part that stuck out to me in this episode, which is just baffling. This show is supposedly produced for $6 to $10 million an episode, yet in this episode we only see 2 sets. One is the beach on Saru's village, which was also used, I guess they made it for this episode and used it for, because it existed already, they used it for the short trek. And the other set was the set inside the Bowel ship, and they just redressed the transporter. And you can tell it's so obviously the transporter, and instead of, they just removed the transporter pad and filled it with a tank of oil, basically, which the Bowel rises out from and looks something like a cross between Armus and the girl from The Ring, and the Hollow Man, and just basically a horrific figure that comes out of this oil. And Saru finds his inner Hulk. Part of his evolution is now he's not afraid, and he's found a strength I guess he didn't have before. He manages to break out of restraints and save his sister, and there are these flying little I don't know what to call them that were attacking them, and he destroys them and speaks to Discovery and what they have discovered through the information from the alien from a couple of episodes ago that left them all its knowledge from its whole life, was that the Bowel was originally the prey of Saru's people, and at some point the Bowel fought back and they managed to I guess cull en masse Saru's people before they evolved, and overpowered them and kept them a subservient species with religion, and kept them controlled, so to save themselves and to keep that balance of power in their favour. So they've totally changed Saru's character. They've totally flipped it and abandoned whatever they had planned for him, and now they've made him a confident, aggressive, strong alien. And so here's on the other part of the episode that bothered me. In the short treks, he finds some technology that the Bowel left behind, and he's able to use it to communicate into space and attract Starfleet's attention, and Giorgio comes and takes him, and he leaves his village to go to Starfleet, supposedly not to return, so he doesn't contaminate their culture. Because the Bao has had warp technology for a year or two before Saru left. He left 18. He's been in Starfleet for 18 years, so it's been 18 years since he left. And they've only had warp technology for 20 years, so he communicated, and it did seem quite a stretch that this person who's been raised in a religious environment with no real education, and certainly no education in technology, is aware that it exists because the Bao use it to cull them, but he's able to master it and contact Starfleet, and it seemed like quite a stretch. In this episode, something similar happens where he's on the ship and he manages to smash one of these flying, I don't know what to call them, drones, and he basically uses their technology. So the signal that caused his evolution, that came from the alien, Michael was able to send that to him, and then he's able to basically pipe it through the Bao's system. So they basically are able to send it out to the whole planet and force the whole race to evolve, and for all of them to go through this change at the same time, which is a bit of an ethical issue. But between him and his sister, who's now a priest, who took over after her father allowed himself to be culled, they've decided for their race, the future of their race. And by evolving, obviously, they will no longer give themselves over to be culled, and they're basically forcing this change in the balance of power. So they do that, and of course the Bao tries to stop it, and then comes the Red Angel. The Red Angel literally just ends the situation, just stops. I think they basically destroy the network of the technology that the Bao had to take them and cull them. They were using that. They were going to destroy every. They obviously had a contingency plan. They were going to destroy every village, and Captain Pike was trying to destroy them, but I don't know if the Red Angel intervened in that, or if they couldn't because of shielding. And then the Red Angel basically, through a burst of energy, destroys all their they're like these, I keep thinking monolith, but that's not the word. Their technology. They destroy their technology and allow the Saru's people to evolve, and that's basically where it ends. They just force the evolution on the people. The people realize now that they're not going to die, that they were lied to, that they had been indoctrinated into like a cult of religion that forced them to give themselves up and be cold and to keep this balance. So, but the interesting thing is, when Saru is in the transporter room, which has been redressed to actually be, because the ship, the Bao ship, is in the ocean and it rises up, and when it rises up we find that the room they were in, which was very dark, was actually like a bridge with windows all the way around it, so you see the water disappear as they rise up, and that still annoys me that it's obviously the bridge set that they've redressed. But yeah, they I'm forgetting what the next point was. They yep, they're just freed, and the Red Angel is revealed. Sorry, that's right. The Red Angel is revealed through Saru's superior vision. It's a woman in a mechanical suit who obviously has superior technology, and they're using that technology to guide and influence other cultures and races, and to, he feels, for his people to evolve and be freed. They've intervened in other ways. So now the question is, now we know that it's not an angel, so I'm glad they resolved that. It's just an alien in a suit with superior technology. Why anyone would have jumped to the conclusion that it had to be something supernatural, or there was something religious or godlike. I mean, yes, to uneducated people, advanced technology can seem like magic, and like an alien could seem like a god, but Starfleet know better. So the fact that it was looked at that way always bothered me. But so yes, that's been revealed. Saru has evolved. His people are free. They have basically told the Baal that we're not going to get revenge on you. There will be a new balance. We will live together, and they don't have to worry about keeping his people repressed. So that is all resolved pretty cleanly, and I quite enjoyed the episode itself. I quite enjoyed watching it. I was involved. I found it was well paced, and I was quite surprised that I only had a couple of little issues with it as it was going through. He's using their technology against them, and just being able to grab parts of broken machinery and put it together and have like a transmitter to pipe the signal that Burnham sent him into their network basically, and send it out through all their technology. So there was that, and so there's couple little things, but they were really quite minor. And the set redress was a bit embarrassing. I mean, for all that money, they couldn't build an original set. They redressed the transporter room. That was really surprising. But considering the producers, Berg and Herbert, were just fired because they spent so much, or they couldn't control, or they couldn't reduce the budget, as I guess they were expected to. So they're obviously saving money on this episode. But aside from that one set redress, it doesn't really show. So now Michael, having seen Saru resolve the issues with his sister and his life and his family, she's decided to go back to Vulcan and sort out her business. So the next episode presumably is going to be back on Vulcan, and there'll probably be a lot of dealing with Spock's history, and that is very touchy, and they haven't handled that well. So I'm not looking forward to that. This episode was really good, but I'm not sure about where they're going to go. As usual, I'm cautious but optimistic, and I'm wanting the show to be good, and I did enjoy this episode. I only had a couple of small issues. Then the other thing, of course, I forgot about was Culber's back, and his body's been regenerated, so he's fresh and new, and he's got no scars, and his nervous system is adjusting, so he doesn't feel right, but he is normal, he is healthy, and now he just has to adjust. And the doctor said, you're perfectly fine, you can basically go on with your life. And I'm like, I think he needs some serious counselling to adjust to the fact that he died and was regenerated, and what this means for him spiritually, mentally, emotionally. They really didn't address that, so they need to, but I'm assuming there's 9 more episodes. I'm assuming they'll deal with it. But yep, so I better leave it there. I was only expecting to do a very short first impression, but I've pretty much gone through the whole episode. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm surprised. There were a few problems, but they weren't major. If they can continue on with this and retcon some of the other mistakes and keep up this level of quality and consistency, even if they do scrimp on a few sets, I can forgive that if the writing improves and the direction of the show is better. So I'm feeling more optimistic. I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the next episode, which is probably a first. And hopefully it'll be good, and hopefully you'll be seeing me talk about it. Thanks for watching, and let's hope the next episode's good.